Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenaksharasamamanayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha vakyakaram vararuchim bhashakaram patanjalim paninim sutrakarancha pranatosmi munitrayam vagartha viva sampraktau Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste, welcome. Took a little bit of a break last week. Hope everyone's doing well. We are just looking at, let me share a different screen here. We're looking at Mati Shabda. And so we're just looking at this. And so we'll get familiar with this and we'll remind ourselves about Mati Shabda, wake up our buddhi, wake up our Mati. And we'll also do some practice of the exercises of this. And hopefully it won't look too distant. Hopefully we can bring it back. And then we'll do some practice with this. If we get time, we can go to our next Shabda as well. Okay, so you can chant along with me. Okay, so Matihi, Mati, Matayaha, Matim, Mati, Matihi, Matya, Matibhyam, Matibhihi, Matyay or Mataye, Matibhyam, Matibhyaha. Okay, so now we're 5-1. Matyaha or Matehe, Matibhyam, Matibhyaha. Okay, 6-1. Matyaha or Matehe, Matyoho, Matinam. Matyam or Matau, Matyoho, Matishu. He, Mate, He, Mati, He, Matayaha. So as we can remember, this is a kind of a combination between Hari Shabda and Nadi Shabda. So these forms in black are like Nadi. The rest of them are like Hari, as it says below, right? The rest are like Hari. So it's a bit of a combination of both. So it's a good reminder of both Hari Shabda and Nadi Shabda at one time. And we get to learn Mati Shabda. As we saw, some familiar words are here, right? Shruti, Smriti, Srishti. Shruti being the Veda, Smriti being the text written by the rishis. Srishti being creation. Shanti, peace. Shakti, power. So we see a lot of these words very familiar, or they are very familiar to us. And so it's good to know that these are Mati Shabda Vat, like Mati Shabda. Okay. We'll just go look at our exercise. So you can flip to the back of the book, exercise 31. We did some of these together, but we'll continue to look at this. So exercise 31 is on page 182. Page 182 in the back of your book. I'm just going to choose a few of these just so we can get some idea. To be honest, this exercise is quite difficult. And I'm not sure why this is this is a bit more difficult than the other exercises that we've seen. So we don't need to look at all of them because it'll take up a lot of time, but we'll see a few of them. So, for example, we can start with number 7. Oops. Okay. Shantehe praptaye etaha stutihi patati. Okay, we always catch our verb. The verb doesn't have to be the last in the sentence. We're being spoiled by having it at the last part of our sentence. But it is a bit easy to see here, right? It's going to be, oh, what I did before going in here is sometimes it's easier just to start with giving our guesses of the cases at the beginning, right? So shantehe can be 5-1 or 6-1. Praptaye 4-1. And I'm giving away a little bit here, but that's okay. Etaha 1-3 or 2-3. Right, these are just guesses. We don't actually know right now until we do the sentence. Satihi 2-3 and patati 3rd one. So let's actually go into patati a little bit more. So patati, pat dhatu, right? We know this. This is our lat lakara. Pat means to read. Right? Veda patati. Vedaha patati. Lat lakara kartari prayoga, 3rd one. So this is just like our bhavati. We've seen this. This one should be familiar. That pat is to read. This is a pretty common one. So we don't have a 1-1, right? So we can add one. So I added one up here. I added sa patati. It could be saha patati, right? It could be tat patati. It can be masculine. It can be feminine. Oh, not sure why that started over. But whatever you want to include, I chose sa, since we're doing some feminine words, to change it up a little bit. But you can kind of supply whatever you want. So tad is our sarvanama shabda. We can say dakaranta if we want to. And here it's 3, but it can be all 3 genders, right? Tad can be all 3 genders, but here I put 3. So this is the she. It's a pronoun in the form of she, 1-1. And we're in kartri prayoga, so this is going to be kartri prathama. To patati. So now we're going to pick up, we usually often go right to left. And so I'm just going to pick up from right to left. So stutihi. So far we know she reads something. So stutihi is what I pick up here. All right. So before I put it on the screen, what do you think the pratipadika? You don't have to put it in the chat. Just think about it first. What do you think the pratipadika is for this? Right? It's stuti, just like mativat. So stuti, so ikaranta strilinga. It means praise. It can also be a hymn or a prayer, right? Like a hymn, like a Ganga Stotram can be a stuti, a praise of Ganga. So let's decline stuti just quickly so we can get some practice. Okay, we'll do the first 3 lines. So stutihi, stuti, stutayaha. Stutim, stuti, Stuti. So you see that in 2, 3. Stutya, stutibhyam, stutibhi. So stuti is ending in is in rasva ikara, just like mati shabda. Yeah, it's actually not in this vocabulary list, but we know that it's short e. So our vibhakti artha. So she reads what? So this is going to be karmani ditiya to patati. Okay, so now we're going to pick up our next word, right? Etaha stutihi patati. So far we know she reads a hymn or that prayer. Etaha, etad shabda, like we've seen. Now this is a sarvanama shabda. This is strilinga. And reason why it's strilinga is etad could be any gender, but again, we're qualifying stuti, stutihi, right? So etaha stutihi. That's why it's strilinga here. This is an adjective to stutihi. Adjective to stuti. So she reads what? She reads these stutis that are in our book. Okay, so then we keep picking up. So just for clarification, so the question in the chat, the pratipadika form is short ikara, just like mati, and when it declines in 2, 3, then it becomes dirgha ikara, stutihi. Okay, so now we pick up our next word, praptaye, and then shantehe at the end. Okay, so before we put praptaya in there, can you tell me in the chat what case do you think praptaya is? And I'll take some more questions after this is done. Okay, praptaye. Okay, so we're seeing some in the chat. Right, this is prapti shabda. E ending, strilinga. So this is short, just like mati. It means to obtain or to gain. Now this does originally come from pra plus ap, but then it becomes a noun later on. So we haven't figured out how to do that yet, but you could eventually we'll learn how to make dhatus into nouns and to make it into pratipadika. Dhatu becomes a pratipadika. That's a little more advanced that we'll see in the next book. So the whole next book is for those type of things. Okay, this is 4-1, right? We were saying just like haraye or mataye. The vibhakti artha, right? So there's one type of vibhakti artha of fourth case, which is the purpose of action. So when I want to say why I'm doing something, that purpose can be told in fourth case. That's a non-karaka vibhakti. If you want to flip back to fourth case, you can see that there. The reference page I'm writing right here is page 79 in your book. So you can just note that down. Even if you're not taking notes, you can just write that down next to number 7. Refer to page 79 in your book for that purpose of action. That's topic 4 in case you're, or topic, yeah, I think topic 4. Maybe not. Maybe that's topic 7. My handwriting isn't very good, so you can tell me. But she reads these hymns for the purpose of gaining, right? For the purpose of, or to gain. Right? We can either say for the purpose of gaining, or we can just say to gain, right? Because that's implied that that's the purpose. Right, I'm going to write both here. Okay, so now we just pick up our last word, shantehe. Shantehe comes from shanti, e, short e ending, pratipadika, just like mati again. So this is ikaranta strilinga. Okay, now before I write that in there, can we do again in the chat what cases are possible? So not what cases is here, what cases are possible? Yep. So we're starting to see this in the chat. So if we decline it, right? In 5th case, it'd be shantehe, shantibhyam, shantibhyah. 6th case, shantehe, you can see it again, shantyoho, shantinam. Okay, so here, it could be 5-1 or 6-1, right? So she reads these hymns for the purpose of gaining something. Now, for the purpose of gaining. Now, I chose, right? I chose Shashti Vibhakti. Okay. And if you think about it, if you're choosing between 5-1 or 6-1, you want to see what makes more sense. It wouldn't make sense that this is a apadanam panchami. Not really. And if you go through all the 5th case meanings, nothing would really make sense. Here I chose sambandhe shashti. So purpose of gaining, if we were to literally translate it, purpose of gaining of shanti. But that's not necessarily how we say it naturally. We would just say, she reads these hymns to gain shanti. Right? So it's a sambandhe shashti to praptaye, right? We're gaining that shanti, but it wouldn't, the 5th case meanings just wouldn't work, and 6th case would work a little bit better. Okay, so that's our sentence. There's just an extra block there, but that's our sentence. She reads these hymns for the purpose of gaining of shanti. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Har Prasadji, I don't know if you're, let me, 1 second. My computer is muted. Let me fix the audio. 1 second. Okay, so okay, I don't think there's any questions. Yeah, so there's a question about sixth would mean shantis, fourth would match the other word. So fourth, so part of the issue is here that this is what is given to us. Shantehe was the word, right? Now, when we if we put shanti also in fourth case, right? So praptaye shantaye. So the purpose of gaining shanti. So it's that would often when you have two words in the same case, then you would often want to think of something called samanadhikaranam, right? So the purpose and shanti, sorry, gaining and shanti would be the same object, but here they're not the same object. So we wouldn't want it samanadhikaranam. Now you can still have two words in the fourth case, and they just refer to different objects. But the Sanskrit, so this is so part of this sentence why it's difficult is how we the sentence construction in Sanskrit doesn't often translate very well into English. So here it would make perfect sense to say praptaye shantehe in a natural Sanskrit sentence. When we try to translate it, we get into a little bit of trouble because the prepositions we use don't fit so well. But this sentence does work in Sanskrit where you're the what you're gaining is of the shanti. You're gaining that shanti. So sambandha doesn't always mean possession. It can just mean a connection here. Connection between. So it doesn't always have to be shantis where there's a possession happening. Okay. So just quickly, we'll look at one more, and then we'll try to let's see. Okay, we can do. Let's look at this one. We won't do it very thoroughly. We'll just look at it quickly, just so we can see a few more. Right. The purpose we want to gain is really to get the declensions here. So I didn't write this thoroughly out, and the reason is because it's a relatively simple sentence. There's just a lot of ja. Okay. So first, we always want to grab our verb, right? So our verb is praptaye or praptehe, prapte. Prapyate. Sorry, prapyate. Prapyate. Okay, so this is funny because we just saw this. But now here it's a verb. same formation, but there's a little bit of a different suffix added to make it into a noun. Here it's a verb. So prapyate. Again, this is pra plus ap. It's going to mean to obtain. Now you see that yakara and atmanepada. So this is going to be karmani prayoga. Pra plus ap. So lat lakara, karmani prayoga, third one. So it means he, she, it, something is obtained or something is gained. Okay, now we've defined a word in the first case. Do we see a word in the first case? Yep, we see muktihi. Muktihi prapyate. So mukti, freedom, is gained. Okay, freedom is gained buddho. In the buddhi, this is saptami vibhakti. Like matao, buddho. Okay, now look at this construction. This is what I wanted to show you. Shrutya, smritya, yuktya cha. Okay, so here we have the usage of cha. Cha we know as and, but and is positioned a little bit of differently in Sanskrit, right? So there's no usage such as a cha b, a and b. We don't have that. It can either be where you put it in between, or sorry, after each word. So a cha, b cha would be a and b. Or you put it at the end of a series and it stands for all of those things, right? A and B. So if I put A, B, C, D, cha, it would be A and B and C and D. Okay? So this is generally, we've seen this before. It's either A cha, B cha, or A, B cha. It's a little bit different than how we see it in English. So here, if you see this formation, right? Shrutya, smritya, yuktya cha. It's just like this formation. Shrutya. What case is this? Can you give me with your fingers? Okay, look, let's find Shrutya. Yeah, let's try again. Yeah. 3, 1. Like Matya, Shrutya. Okay. So we have this third case, Shrutya, by the Shruti. Smritya, by Smriti. By Yukti. Yukti means logic. So by Shruti, by Smriti, and by Yukti. So sentences, freedom is gained in the buddhi by or because of Shruti, Smriti, and Yukti. So that's a series there that we get. Okay, so that's how we see chakara in sentences, is that it's either at the end of a series or it's after each of the words. Sometimes you see this chakara between sentences, and that will mean that that second sentence, you want to say and XYZ in the second sentence. So for example, Devadattaha gurum vinayena namati. Devadatta salutes his guru with humility. Evam cha natva saha shastram patati. So the cha comes after the second, or after the first word in that second sentence. And having saluted in this manner, he studies the scripture. The point of this is that no sentence starts with chakara. So even if you want to include more information, you would never see a sentence start with chakara. It'll be the second word if you want to include that whole second. So and XYZ, you would include it as the second word. Yajnadattaha odanam na khadati. Yajnadatta does not eat rice. Gramam cha na gachati. And he does not go to the village. And will come first in English, but it'll come second in the second sentence. So this sentence, hopefully we can translate by ourselves. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. You can put a question mark in the chat or raise your hand on the Zoom function. Oh, okay, Hariprasad ji, okay, you can unmute yourself.
Mahodaya, couple of things. One is, what I have never heard the word raswa. Is it the same as haswa?
Hrasva, hrasva.
Okay.
Yep, short, meaning short.
I'm sorry?
Meaning like a short letter, short vowel.
Yeah, that is haswa and dirga.
Correct.
So it is not, it doesn't start from an R.
It does not.
Yeah. And second thing is, can we unmute everybody and only we can maintain silence and we can ask questions immediately after, rather than waiting for a while, because that may be more appropriate, the question?
Sure. So the reason we're doing like this is because we can get through some material and then stop for questions.
Nice.
If we do questions in between, it kind of breaks the flow.
Mm.
So I'm gonna try it like this for some time, just so that we can really get through some material.
Mahodaya.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm.
Okay. This is just a note for our Vedanta class. We'll see also this va. Va means or. Okay, this is the same positioning as chakara. So it's either after each word or it's at the end of the series. Okay, so you'll see A, B, va, A or B, or I can say A va, B va, A or B. Tad vastu tasmin va, etasmin va na drishyate. Tad vastu, that object, na drishyate, is not seen. Here, there, tasmin va, etasmin va, there or here. In English, we would say here or there, right? That's more natural. But here it's there or here. Either one, you can say it. You can flip the two either way. Okay. Oh, so this information, I'll pull it up after the class. This is a little bit further in the book. I'll have to find out what page this was on, but it is there in the book. Cha also does not decline. It's indeclinable. So it's not jaha cho che. It's indeclinable. You don't decline. So is va, indeclinable. You do not decline them. Okay. All right. Our time is up. Just quickly, we see the sentence here. Bhaktanam gato bhitihi na asti. Na asti is not there. What is not there? So if we have to notice this na, otherwise the whole sentence will be ulta, it will be flipped. So na asti is not there. What is not there? Bhitihi. Bhitihi means fear. The fear is not there. Gato, seventh case, on the gati, on the path. On the path of who? Bhaktanam, of the bhaktas. Bhaktas. Okay, so fear is not there on the path of bhaktas. So these sentences we've seen. I think some of you have done the rest of the numbers 1 through 5. If you haven't done them, I would do numbers 1 through 5. Some of these are more complicated. You can give them a shot. Not all of the words. You will have to look up some of the words. It's not as straightforward as our usual homework. where you can look it up in the book very easily. Some of these words are kind of new, or you'll get some verbs with upasarga. So then you're going to have to look that up, what that means. But I made some notes. If you're doing 1 through 5, you can refer to some of these if you haven't done it yet. Okay. Om Shanti 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 He Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll come back